Hello, my name is Alex Aungst,
Hi.
CHS class of 2019. The date of this recording is Monday, January 26th, 2026, and we're recording this here at 3:04 Eastern. Uh, and this video interview is being recorded over Google Meet, where we are at each of our respective residences. Um, and today, if you want to do the honors of introducing yourself, I won't steal that from you.
Okay. My name is Joanne Wareham Norris. I am a 1970 graduate of Central High. I was in the band from the time I was in fourth grade, but I was in Central's band from the fall of 1967 until I graduated in 1970. I moved to Chester County when I got married in 1973, and I've lived here ever since.
Okay, so just wanted to ask just some little preliminaries. How did you first get involved in the band?
It was offered to us in fourth grade, and I wanted to play clarinet because I have an older sister, and she played clarinet, and it was just easier because we could sort of kind of share at that moment. But I couldn't get any sound out of the clarinet. So Mr. Fisher, who was our instrumental music teacher, let me play around with a couple of instruments, and I learned to play the flute. So I took flute lessons, and we actually marched as elementary students.
Is that
Fourth, fifth, and sixth grade.
Sorry about that. You mean like Paul Fisher from Morrison's Cove?
Yep. Yeah, he was our elementary instrumental teacher. So I had Mr. Fisher from fourth grade through ninth grade because Central was only 10 through 12 at that time. We were junior high. We didn't have middle school.
Oh, and there was like a separate ensemble for the junior high students.
Yes.
Wow.
And we had green and white uniforms.
Green and white, and I'm not too familiar with the athletics names. What was there a different athletics team name?
There was, and you're really, really pushing my memory here.
Sorry about that.
I want to say we were something like the Chiefs, something like that. But I do remember those nasty, ugly green and white uniforms. I am not a fan of green, but I do remember that we had those ugly green and white uniforms. And I went to Bean Hill, so I think we were something like the Chiefs.
What year would it have been when you went to first gone to high school?
67.
67.
In the fall of 67.
Is that when you became acquainted with Mr. Shaffer?
Yes.
What memories do you have about Jack Shaffer?
Where do I begin? He was tough. He was very tough on us. Fortunately, because we had a different halftime show every week, did not make us memorize our music. There was some march music that we did memorize because we played it a lot. For like when we were in parades and things like that. That music we memorized, but our show music we did not, and we only performed at halftime. We didn't do competitions. The only things we competed in were parades. And we did big parades like the Apple Blossom Festival is the one I remember the most, the one in Winchester, Virginia. we had been invited to go to the Cherry Blossom Festival parade, but that was the year that Martin Luther King was assassinated. So that was canceled. But although Shaffer was tough on all of us, because we practiced all summer long, in the heat and everything, he was compassionate too. And he had a funny side to him. My family went away in the summer. Both my parents were teachers, and my dad was also clergy. And we went to church conference in the summer.
Mhm.
So we were gone for weeks on end. And one summer, we didn't go away for a long period of time. We were only gone for 2 weeks. And I came back. When I came back, he said, "You're back already?" I said, "Yeah, well, we only went away for 2 weeks." And he put me right back to work. But he expected us, if we weren't practicing out on the field, he expected us to be at school, to practicing in the rooms, practicing our music. So, there were a lot of expectations when we were in the band. And that's why we won all those trophies that aren't in the trophy cases anymore.
Going to events like the Blossom Festival and all those parades. Do you have any like recall about what traveling was like? Was it really rough or anything?
Well, the fact that we had to get up really, really in the morning, and we weren't allowed to do any overnight trips. Anytime we went to a big parade, we had to be there and back within one day, within 24 hours. There had been an incident before I was in high school, where there were some issues, and so the school board had passed that the band was not permitted to go anywhere overnight. So, but that didn't really deter us much, as far as doing what we do best. However, for the Apple Blossom Festival Parade, I volunteered one year to be in the front, because we had too many band members playing. And the judges, the organization said you could only have so many people marching and playing instruments, but it didn't matter how big your band front was. So I volunteered to carry a flag. Well, at that time, there was no such thing as fiberglass poles. Those poles were aluminum.
Oh.
And they were heavy. And this parade was about 1.25 miles long.
Oh.
Which is a long time holding a pole the way you're supposed to hold them. And about 1/4 mile into the parade, I got a cramp in my arm. And I was marching beside one of my friends / neighbors, and she held my arm up for the rest of the mile. And boy, when that parade was over, I dropped that flag as quick as I could, because my arm was sore, and so was hers, from holding my arm up for a mile.
Oh, I bet.
I was crying. I was in such pain. I never volunteered to carry a flag after that. But he practiced us. Our lines had to be straight. Our diagonals had to be perfect. And he never let us stop. He yelled at us if we weren't in perfect formation. Always. And when I go to parades now, I always look for that. My daughter was in the band at her high school here. And you know what? I was so indoctrinated by Shaffer. I always looked at that, and I even mentioned it to her band director. The lines aren't right. The lines aren't straight. Your diagonals aren't straight. And he took that criticism, and he got the kids to do it right.
Wow. And what would the process of that have been like? Like how much time did he invest in those like particular like fundamentals, like in the lines and like the step and stuff like that?
Oh, he did that. That was the first thing he always did in the summer when the new kids, the 10th graders the rising 10th graders. It was the first thing that was our drill. First thing he did before we did any formations for football games or anything. It was the first thing he did was we drilled with marching without instruments. The drum line carried the drums because we had to keep the beat. But we just drilled marching for days until we got it right. And then we would march with our instruments. That's the way I remember it. He was tough with the chorus too.
With the and were
I
there a
was
lot of chorus students that were also in marching band? Like was there a significant?
Yes,
Mm.
yes. Now I wasn't in the chorus until I was a senior. I focused more on my academics, my sophomore and junior year. But I didn't have this heavy load my senior year, so I joined a chorus.
Uh,
But yeah, he was tough. But he was kind, and we all loved him. You talk to anybody in my high school class that was in the band or in the chorus or both, they all loved him.
and you do say that word like tough, like it, and that those moments were like where he shows you that love through like all these like strict, going through all the fundamentals
Oh,
and stuff.
right. He was never nasty. He was tough. And I think that's what we all like. I mean, although he didn't have any children, he and his Marilyn didn't have any children of their own. He all treated us like his kids. He was tough, but fair.
Hmm.
And when he yelled at us, we all took it in because we all knew we did something wrong. I mean, when he yelled at us, it was fair that he yelled at us
Mm-hmm.
because we knew we had done something wrong. But then he taught us not to do it again, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
And he showed us how to do it differently.
That would that kind of like rub off on you? Like, what would you like kind of enforce that kind of discipline like with each other, like within the band room, like kind of like how it would just like conjure up like Schaefer's like energy and kind of like and direct that towards.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. I mean, we were teenagers and we would all get goofy
Right.
from time to time. But I mean, and we all had different personalities. And, I was a child of parents who taught. So, I mean, there was a lot of stuff I could take, but there's a lot of stuff that I couldn't take. And I'm a glarer. I'm someone who can glare at people. I don't have to say a word. And when they see the look on my face, they know they have to knock it off. And I use that a lot with my own children. And I'm a retired school counselor. And when I was working in classrooms, all I had to do was change the look on my face and the kids would settle. In fact, sometimes the kids did my classroom management for me before I even had to open my mouth.
Is that something that you got like direct influence from Schaefer?
A little bit from him, but a lot also from my own parents. But yeah, from him. He had a look. He had that teacher look. I mean, he had that face that all he had to do was look at us and change his facial expression. And you knew he wasn't happy. And I mean, if we were marching and somebody was doing what they shouldn't have been doing, all he had to do was look at us. And you knew to straighten up. And the other thing
Mm.
Two is he never yelled at an individual person
Right.
publicly. If he had to speak to someone, he would take them aside and talk to them privately.
Mm.
In my opinion, that's other people may have a different opinion. I never saw him, or I never felt like he yelled at an individual person publicly.
Mm.
Now, he yelled at all of us publicly as a group, but never one individual person publicly, in my opinion.
Do you have any like specific recollections about like heading out of the band, like your senior year, how that felt, like how the atmosphere was?
We were all kind of sad. I do know that one thing I do remember is it was my senior year, and I wasn't on the list to go to county band.
Mm.
And at that age, I was not someone that stood up for myself. And I told Shaffer, I want to go to county band. I don't care how you fix it. I want to go to county band. It's my senior year, and I've gone to county band every year since I've been in 7th grade.
Mm.
And I don't want my senior year to be the year I don't go.
Mm.
And he understood that. He goes, well, your name won't be in the program. I said, I don't care. I want to be there. And he fixed it that I would go to county band. Not many people would do that. But I made my point, and he made it happen. Not a lot of people would do that. And and I didn't yell or scream or cry or anything like that. I just made my point.
One more thing I just have to cover here. After graduation, getting into your careers, what aspects about your life have most been shaped by your experience in the marching band?
As a counselor, let me go back. As a parent, I encouraged my children to play an instrument.
Mm.
My daughter played piano. My son played guitar. He wanted to take guitar lessons. My son wanted to play the drums. We allowed that under certain conditions at home.
Okay.
He also played the trumpet up through middle school, my son. And my daughter played the flute. Actually, she played my flute because I still have mine. And but she had to audition for the high school band, and she didn't pass the audition. However, because she played piano, she made the band, and she played the glockenspiel and some of the other percussion instruments when they were on stage. So she still got to march in the band. So I always encouraged the music side, because music encourages creativity and all kinds of things. And it helps people with certain learning issues and whatever. And now I'll move into my actual career as a school counselor. I have always encouraged kids to play music. I don't care what instrument they play, but encourage them to play some kind of music because it's good for their own brain power, and for their own creativity, whatever they want to do to create. Some kids took that to heart, some didn't, but I always encouraged it because I told them I loved being in the band. You got to be around a lot of people. You got to go places. You got to march. You got to, you got to learn new things. And it was fun. So the experiences I had while I was in the band, I got to share with other people, even as an adult.
I'll try to think of another miscellaneous question I could kind of throw there. Don't want to pad too much time there.
That's all right.
Just to call back to when Jackson interviewed Aaron Keebaugh. During that time when you were marching with Central, was there any like specific any like area bands that you would have regarded as like kind of like musical rivals or anything of that nature?
Not in our general area, no. Some of the bands that we met up with were pretty good, but I can't remember their names. It was a long time ago for me. We're talking 50 plus years ago. Hollidaysburg had a pretty decent band at that time. Altoona High had a pretty decent band. And the only reason I was familiar with Altoona High's band is my dad taught at Altoona High. So I had some familiarity with that.
Oh.
Because I would before I went to high school, I would always go to Altoona High's football games with my dad. But other than that, those are the only ones I could think of that would be even close to what we were at that time. For a small community, we had a huge band, which was great. I mean, there were we had over 120 people in our band.
Wow. No, I can't even recall the size of today's band, but that definitely dwarfs it.
Well, they're not that big, but I mean, our band was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Our band was huge, and that's not even counting the front.
Wow.
But our band was huge.
Is there anything else you wanted to add, to this before we?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, other than the fact that we had wool uniforms and we used them in the summer. The Roaring Spring has that homecoming parade in August, and we marched in full uniform. We had the wool uniforms with those British big hats. And we marched in full uniform. Yeah, I remember that. And it was hotter than all get out in the middle of August. Yeah, so I remember that. It was very rare that we marched without our full uniform on.
It would never just be like, the pants and then, just like it.
Oh, no. Nope. No, we always marched in our full uniform, except maybe Halloween. But every other time we had our full uniforms on. No hair hanging down. Our hair had to be up underneath our hats. He was very strict as far as that was concerned.
If it's all right with you, I think we can, leave off comfortably on that note.
Okay.
I do feel enriched about hearing about your experiences, and I hope everyone who'll be listening to this in the future leaves here feeling the same way. Okay. Not just for older band alumni, for the chance to reminisce about these times, but for the newer alumni, or even just like armchair historians or habitual learners, to learn something.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, meaningful and that sheds light on the history of the band. So, right. I want to thank you for donating your time here and voice to this project and giving us an image into the band way back when. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you for allowing me to do it.